Oh, yeah. The tribal drums signal that it's time for Journals Out Loud. On the Journals Network, I'm Louise Palenker, your lovely and captivating host.
I've been out there wandering.
That's right, I have been. What about you kids? Have you been out there wandering?
Not so much.
Time to come on home. Bring it on in. We've got Aaron, Jilly, Josh, Victoria, and our special guest in the studio is Julia Prescott. Everybody, round of applause. We're here to answer all of your concerns. Any question that you have. It could be about baking. Could be about termite control.
But you wouldn't get good answers for either of them.
No.
Just heads up.
Yeah, just a heads up. There's stuff that we know more about than those
Most
two
of these
things.
are like, just Google it.
Yeah, just Google it. Mom, Google it. No, we're here to talk about things that you maybe could Google, but you're going to get a more concise and to-the-point answer if you talk directly to us, because we're on the front lines of what's going on in terms of interpersonal relationships and how to do life and things. And that's on my business cards. Like, I help you with how to do life and things.
That's a good business card.
Although, there's so many life coaches on Twitter, I can't even.
Yes.
I don't want to.
Yeah.
Bless
It's a
them.
thing.
But
Bless them.
Yeah.
But now they're even getting more fractured within the life coach title. It's like, I'm a wellness coach. I'm a organizational coach or something.
Right. And they also give motivational speeches.
Yes. Webinars.
Yeah, they get webinars. Yes, they do. No, but we're mostly focused on teens. But if you have a teen, know a teen, have met a teen, or are annoyed by the teens at your mall, give us a call because we can help with that. So we've got Victoria. You've been in a show all summer. You have some news to report.
Yeah, I've been doing a play. It's High School Musical, and I'm playing with Taylor McKessie and a cheerleader, and I've been doing that for a few months now.
What are your big songs? What are your big numbers?
Well, for Taylor McKessie, there is this song called Counting on You.
Wait, is she the itchy girl but with a B?
No.
Wait,
That's
Sharpay.
Took me a second.
oh, that's what's
That's Sharpay.
I'm playing Gabriella's friend.
Oh, you're playing a good girl.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yes. So
Well, she was not so nice in the beginning. But anyways, I'm playing the Counting on You song and the All in This Together.
we can
Personal
all do that,
favorite.
right? We're all
In this together, once we
And slam for
know
copyright
that we
infringement.
All right, so good. So how have the show? Have any standing ovations?
Yeah, well, we've got some because we've had to replace some people like on the spot, like 15 minutes before.
Wow.
So like,
intense.
and this is a kids show, so like it's being ran by kids. So people are pretty like impressed that we get to act on the spot and be able to replace people on the spot. And so
And where can people come to see the show?
it's in Fairmont. It's called YST, and there's tickets online.
Fairmont is where?
Fairmont. You see, I'm not great with directions.
Southern
so-
California.
Yeah.
Yeah,
somewhere
you're
there.
still at that stage of life where you get driven from place to
Yeah.
place, and you don't
Yeah.
really know how you got there or where you really are.
Yeah.
It all starts to make a little bit more sense once you get that.
Yeah, I remember one time when I was a kid giving instructions on how to get to my house by saying, I live by a beige apartment in North Hollywood.
Made sense to you.
Miraculously, they found it. But
My favorite story along those lines is the daughter of a guy I was dating. She was trying to find me. This was before cell phones, and she called information, and she said, I'm pretty sure she's the only Louise that lives on North Star. And like to an 8-year-old, that made a lot of sense.
Yeah, I love that though.
That was one that the operator probably took home and told her family.
Oh yeah.
Adorable. Let's dive into questions. Oh, I have to read your Twitter. Oh, so if you're looking for Julia Prescott online, you host your own podcast.
I do.
Entitled
Everything's Coming Up podcast.
Right.
It's a Simpsons themed podcast, and we are in the LA Pod Festival this September.
Ooh, that's exciting. I want to hear about that.
Okay.
Bookmark that thought.
Yeah.
So her Twitter profile reads, I write for sassy adults and children, co-host of @SimpsonsPod, probably joking near you soon. So you also do stand-up comedy?
I do. And I tour a lot, which is hence joking near you soon.
Mm-hmm.
I tour a lot throughout this great nation. I've done a handful of tours, mostly through the South, because I like the South, it turns out. And I'm planning one for the East Coast soon.
You know what's up with Southern people? politeness
Yeah.
and manners.
Yeah.
They have that going on.
One time I was in a thrift store in Alabama, and I was the only one in the thrift store. And as I was about to leave, the guy behind the counter goes, "Ma'am, can I ask you a question?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Are you comfortable?" And I went, and he goes, "I was thinking about turning up the air. Are you comfortable?" You? And I was like, it's pretty good in here. No, you're doing a great job. He goes, all right. Thank you so much. It was amazing. I loved it so much. Yeah, little things
I
like
wish that he could just follow you around.
I
And
know.
make
How are
sure
you
you're
doing? Are you
comfortable.
okay?
and I'd be like, you know what? Now that you're following me, yes, I am.
And you'd be like, you know what? Could you fluff my pillow? As long as you're asking.
Yeah, he was so earnest. It was great.
Excellent.
Yeah,
And you went to summer camp.
I did.
So we want to hear all about that.
Yeah, I'm a director at a YMCA sleepaway camp in the Big Bear Mountains called Camp Whittle, and I teach middle schoolers how to write and perform sketch comedy.
Wow.
It was super fun.
I love Camp. That name is Camp Whittle.
Camp Whittle.
Love it.
Yeah, it's called Whittle Night Live. That's the unit. Because get it. And we had a lot of fun. We did a lot of improv games and wrote like commercial parodies and topical things, and it was really fun.
That is super duper fun.
Mm-hmm.
Any standouts?
Well, I would say what was really cool was we did normal comedy sketches during the week, but then we had a couple counselors who knew how to play music. So, when we had off times, they would kind of just be noodling around on their guitar. And throughout the week, everybody was kind of slowly but surely like chipping away at an original song that we were all kind of writing together, because it was just like our downtime song. So on the last night of Campfire, we performed that instead of a sketch.
Awesome.
It was really powerful and really sweet.
That's so
Yeah,
great.
so that was a standout.
Yay.
Mhm.
Well, good for you. Are you
Yeah.
ready to dive into questions from actual teenagers?
Yes.
All right. This one says, me and this guy exchanged Snapchats, and we've been snapping each other, but he just keeps sending me pictures of the side of his face. He doesn't even say anything, and I've only met him once. What does that mean? So first of all, have you seen Phantom of the Opera?
I was going to say Tommy
Yes.
Lee Jones.
All right.
Was it face?
The Man Without a Face?
No, he was Two-Face
Oh.
in the Batman movies. That's before your times.
Also, he could be like a
Not all of
great,
us.
great, great grandson of John Barrymore, who was kind of in love with his profile, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, but I'm out of ideas. Those are my two. Anyone? Aaron?
I mean, okay, so you met this guy, you're Snapchatting each other, and he's just sending you the side of his face. I mean, that, correct me if I'm wrong, that sounds kind of like he's trolling you.
I think he just likes that angle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I-
he
Probably
could have
thinks
an
that
unsightly
that's like
mole.
a good angle for him, and he's just like, "This is my best angle.
Yep.
This is my best
Yeah.
side."
Yeah.
And so
Super
that's
handsome
what I'm gonna
profile guy.
Snapchat.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I did think about that. I'll get to you in a second. I will pass to you, but I thought about what you said. Except he's not, there's no words. It's just pictures of the side. Like, there's no captions. That she didn't say there was. She said there's no words. It's just pictures of the side of his face. If this was, he likes the angle, you'd think he'd get playful and do like the normal Snapchat, kind of like, here's a picture of me doing something silly, and also I'm saying words to you because how's your day been or whatever,
Not
right?
necessarily, though. No.
I don't know.
No,
this is
I mean, I-
trolling.
wait, wait.
Because trolling is supposed to be annoying. This is just kind of odd.
No,
Go ahead, Victoria.
for the lulz, Victoria, please.
I was gonna say, like, maybe he just, like those people who like to do the same face in their pictures and stuff like that. Maybe he just likes to do that. I don't know.
It sounds like a combination of light trolling, like trolling light, like 0 calorie trolling, and
Troll zero.
he's troll zero, and he's probably insecure about how he looks.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's
no,
it.
I mean, I kind of agree with Julie. Like, I really just think you might just be sending pictures. Like, for me, I have hundreds of friends on Snapchat, and I just send pictures randomly to people, and I don't even care to have a response back from. I just send a picture, and this is the good side of my face. This isn't. So
So it's
I'm like
you.
this usually.
Josh, is it
So-
you?
It's
It's
you.
me.
It's you.
Wait a second, but that's a great point, because are these pictures sent to this person like directly, or is this like a
Well,
story thing?
Only he would know
Mm-hmm.
that, really. I mean, well, not that.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was a story, that's different.
Right,
but if
but-
it was sent to like mass people, like I just send it to everybody because I'm like, I want to see who will answer back, or I don't even care if I get an answer back.
Oh,
But
that's
So I
interesting.
love Snapchat.
yeah,
Wait a second. So you're saying that you send this out, you send your snaps not to your story, but to individuals just to see what happens. That's what you're saying.
not
to me.
even just see what happens. Like I just send it to him. I don't even want a response.
Your
Like-
devil may care attitude is infectious.
Happy day. Here's
you
me.
are just like, girl, take it in, and then you go to sleep. You don't think about it again.
Exactly.
That's intense.
Man, I need
Wow.
to borrow some of that.
Yeah. I did not know.
Bottle it.
I did not know that that's like how it goes, right? So,
Yeah.
and this could be that. You're right. I take it back.
Well, I don't have it in front of me, but I think in the question it was that this person was sending it to her. I'm assuming it's her.
Yeah, because when you on
Um,
Snapchat, when you send things, like it sends it individually to whomever you send it to. So
Yeah.
if I send it to like 50 people, each 50 people will only know that I sent it to them, and they
Right.
wouldn't know I sent it to
Yeah.
everybody else.
I feel like
Uh-huh.
she wouldn't be commenting on its weirdness if it was a story for everybody.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah,
don't
right,
think
She'd be like,
I don't think
Yeah.
it was a
What's up with this
story.
guy?
I just think she's like, it might also be a mass one, and she doesn't know it.
Right, but she can write back
That's where they
like,
get you.
hey,
What's going on?
and ask him a question that would
right.
kind of invite
Prompt.
an
Nice
prompt an
angle
answer.
of your
Yeah,
face.
be like, can I see the other side of your face?
What's up with that? That's fun. And
You've got me
pointed.
intrigued. Show me more.
Well, I doubt
Don't
anyone.
say that. No, don't say that. Don't say
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Oh,
Just-
yeah,
we don't
yeah,
want to go
that's
all
code.
lightly. Yeah,
It's code for an eggplant emoji.
Not too much more, but you know what I'm saying. Like your nose might be nice. Yeah, in life, if you want to know, ask. Kind
Yeah.
of as a rule
Yeah.
of thumb.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah, I
mean,
think
everyone's
especially when
kind
it
of
comes to that.
afraid that asking would push someone away, but you can ask in such a playful way that it's actually inviting.
Yeah, it could be
Yeah.
like you can say like were you sending me the side of your face, LOL.
Or you can send one back.
That would actually work.
don't
That would actually
know.
work.
You could write. I have a
yeah.
good one. You could write. Do I have to move to England to see the other side of your face?
Ooh, that's good because it's playful too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And it's fun and cute.
Mhm. Yeah, I think asking is the right route
Yeah.
with this because it's not like you're asking for a favor. That's when asking hurts and you should think before asking. But this is
Yeah.
more like a pointed question that I'm betting this person doesn't get asked because he's obviously continuing this behavior uninterrupted.
Very true.
And it's like the world is accepting this side of my face. And I'll give it to them until they
Tell
stop
me
asking
no.
for it.
It seems to be a hit.
Yeah.
What? Don't fix what isn't broken. The side of my face is a smash.
I
in
love
the
it.
suburbs. Oh my goodness, Aaron, would you please read the next question?
I will. So this year, I went to a new school. I'm in 8th grade. I really love it so far, and everyone is really nice. But my best friend also switched to a new school this year, and she already has plans with her new best friends. I'm happy that she is close to her new friends, but whenever I try to plan something with her, she's always busy with them. It also makes me feel sad because I start thinking that I have no new friends because I'm not doing anything with them. Please help me feel better.
Oh, girl,
Mm-hmm.
this is something I feel right now in my adult age. And for me, the answer is that's life. And that just will never change, unfortunately. Your friends will always find other pockets of friends. And, social circles change, especially when it comes to attending a new school. I would not reach out to this friend and go, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. What's up with that? Because then that friend is going to be like, ugh, that whatever you're suggesting doesn't sound like a fun hangout because I feel like I'm feeling guilty when I shouldn't be feeling guilty for living my life. I think the proper route would be to go, hey, like, I want to catch up. Like, I haven't seen you in a while. Just go full positive instead of commenting at all at the fact that you're sad and miss them. Because then it just muddies everything and it makes like a really bad situation.
What if she sends a picture of the side of
The
her
side of her face.
Her
She'd
face.
she'd be like, why you sent me this?
Julie?
No, I completely agree. This has actually been happening recently because all my friends dispersed to college.
All right, so yes, explain what happened.
And
So you just
so
graduated high school,
I
and it's
did.
like all
I made it.
friendship,
Yes.
major friendship.
Yes, because people are distributed all over the country, and it's hard because we're, finding new friends, and it's hard to kind of keep in touch with everybody. And it's weird when you see your best friends all of a sudden have other friends, and you're like, wait a minute, and you feel jealousy, but you're like, I can't feel jealous. I'm not there. But I completely agree. I think reaching out and just like asking, how they're doing, don't make it negative, because I completely agree, because you're like, wait a minute, I don't even want to talk to you if you're going to be like all,
Sure.
negative. But I think that it's definitely hard. It's something that will continue, but you just have to kind of remember that like your friendship is special, and that's going to be irreplaceable. So just kind of stay in your lane.
Yeah, I think two things here. So you guys live in separate areas now. So obviously both of you are going to be getting new friends and making new friends. And like Julie said, don't get jealous over that. And I think for me, when I moved away from home, I had friends who haven't done the jealousy route. And those are the friends that I still have. And then the ones that did the jealousy route are the ones that I don't have anymore, because it was just like, I can't hang out with you right now because you're halfway across the country and there's nothing I can do to be with you. And I would love to hang out with you. However, it's not possible. So I wouldn't get jealous over that. And also I would say, you said in your question that because you're not doing anything with your new friends, I mean, invite your new friends to do something and try to create a bond with you, someone who's there in person that you can hang out with, and still maintain your other friendship and know that that's not going anywhere unless you make it go somewhere. Aaron?
Yeah, I actually kind of counter to what you said. Like, I think that people are going to feel jealous, and that's natural, and they need to just be like, you know what, I do feel jealous, but that's not going to be how I define this relationship with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you need to acknowledge that that's how you feel, and that's okay. That I think basically anybody would feel jealous in that situation. But then redirect. And I know that someone else said, I remember who said, focus not on, oh, I miss you, I can't believe you're spending time with all these people, and instead say, hey, we should catch up, what's going on? Like, it's that kind of positive reinforcement that's going to help you stay friends. But I go a step beyond that and say, they're not the only ones who have this option, right? Like, you have access to all these new people as well. If you're also going off and finding new friends, especially if you're going off to college and whatever else like that, that's a great opportunity, not just for them to meet new people, but for you to meet new people. And I'm not saying, screw everybody else, find new people, whatever, but like, it's a mix, right? It's a balance between finding a new group that you feel comfortable with in wherever you are now and staying on positive terms with the people that are now no longer so close.
Sorry.
Sorry.
I was going to say, what that means is that, and this is really hard, but learn it at your age, because it's really, really a great muscle to have, completely toned and ready. When she does contact you, be thrilled. Don't scold her. Don't guilt trip her. Because if a long period of time has gone on before, in between you having a connection with anybody, whether it's a sister, one day you could have 2 years go by without or talking to a sister. It could be because of a big fight or something. If you decide that relationship is valuable to you, then when they do finally call, instead of the first thing saying, oh, finally, be like, oh my God, how are you? So that they know that when they do call, they're going to be welcomed. And that's just a really important lesson. Josh.
Oh, sorry. You want to go?
Oh, no, go.
Okay, so I have something to add to what you were saying. Like, being on that other side, the person who not necessarily meant to get new friends. I have had people call me, and it's not a great feeling when they're like, so I guess you're too busy for me now, or all that. It's just like, no,
It's hard.
I'm just doing my life, and I do miss you. It's just I didn't have the time or didn't think of messaging you right now, and I'm sorry. Like, and then it just guilt trip, like you said. It's not fun for both parties, and then I distance myself.
Right. It gives you the opposite of what you're craving.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it colors the relationship in like a really sour way, and it makes me think. And I feel this quote kind of applies to this. I'm just gonna say it. It's a famous quote, and I forget who said it, but people will not remember what you said or what you did, but they'll mostly remember how you made them feel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think
it's
about
Maya
that a
Angelou
lot.
or
Yes,
somebody
it is
wise
Maya
as
Angelou. Yes, I knew it was one of those. And I feel like that like generally applies to this situation of like, you don't want to be remembered for being the friend that guilts another friend. And even if you call them up and you're stifling your feelings of jealousy with, pretending to be thrilled, eventually pretending will turn into a real emotion, and you'll be able to, actually have a good conversation with this person. And also just trust that, you know, a really, really good friend, it doesn't matter how often you see them. It could be years and you can just pick up. And I have friends like that, and they're my favorite people in the whole world. Like, I've had friends that I would say, yeah, she's one of my best friends. I haven't seen her in 2 years, but it doesn't matter because we're that secure and confident in our friendship.
Yeah, the love is there. And so if you're in that phase of your childhood where you're both supposed to be expanding your circle of friends, and so it may be a little bit less painful for her based on her natural personality and a little more of an effort and painful for you, but go and do it. This is your prompt. Go and do that, and then you'll have more to talk about when you get back with her, because you guys are going to always have been friends since your early childhood. You're going to have that bond forever in common.
Yeah, it's a good point.
So I know it's hard, especially in middle school, because middle school kids can be just really difficult, but this is your prompt. Go find your people. And then one day maybe you'll get to share them with her as you guys continue growing up together. All right, Jilly, are you ready to read?
I am ready.
I'm giving you the shortest question.
I will take it.
Really?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
All right.
You'll give the longest answer.
All right. Deal.
All right. So, when a guy rates you an 8.5 out of 10, what does it mean?
He's a jerk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I rate him a 2.
he's a scumbag.
Personality. But what? But all right. So let's
No, but
just.
there was rating stuff. I mean, it happens.
I know. So it does happen, and so
But it sucks.
rather than hating on the people who do it, should we just accept that it's a thing? And I'll let Aaron talk.
I mean, it is a really basic form of objectification. I mean, like, just straight up, okay, so this person, just look over there. What do you think? 8.5, 7.2, whatever, right? Like, it's disregarding anything, like, that is a person about them and is just, all right, cool, that's what they are. They're a number that I'm assigning to them. Like, 10, perfect. I don't know. Maybe like, what is their end goal? 10, put them in my bed now? Is that like what their thought process is?
Hopefully not if they're in 8th grade. But I think we've always been objectifying people based on looks and our preferences regarding looks, and numbers have probably always been associated with that. As soon as people learned how to count, they probably started rating people. So I don't want to just say this is horrible, because it's probably something that we naturally do. We quantify and qualify. But should there be a guy in the group going, let's not do this? I mean, should somebody be telling people not to do it, or is it just, should we just accept that this happens before we address what it actually means that you got an 8.5, which I think is a pretty good score.
So, all right. I mean, think of it this way. If we accepted what naturally occurs, I mean, we wouldn't be doing a podcast right now. We wouldn't have cameras. We wouldn't have, like, nothing that is just natural, that is accepted, generally speaking, gets us somewhere better than where we might have been if we had questioned it.
All right. I hear that.
So, for example, bullying. That happens all the time. That's very natural. Like, that's just a standard societal thing. We see this in other animals with, like, societal tendencies. Bullying is a thing that happens.
But if there were a guy in the middle of the group going, hey, let's not give girls numbers, would that guy get jumped on, or is that something that someone should be saying?
I mean, it's the thing that everybody should be saying, right? Like, it shouldn't just come from one person. If one person feels strongly about it and wants to say it, good on them, and I commend them, but this is not like a one-person duty. This is a general thing that we should all be aware of. So does it
necessarily make a guy a jerk if he gave a girl, let's say he was texting her and he gave her that number? Is he a jerk?
Well,
or just unevolved?
I mean, I think that the problem is that, like, I think guys, a lot of time to each other, I've realized they, like, egg each other on. And it's like they want to kind of this thing where they want to be like, oh, she's so hot and whatever. Or, no, she's not. Or this girl's better or whatever. They, like, do it to each other. So I think that that's part of the problem. I don't think it automatically makes some guy, like, a terrible guy. But I also think that, like, it's not a great thing. I've definitely been the person in the room to be like, guys, like, what are we doing here? Mm-hmm. You know, like, it literally happened last night. We're watching Bachelor in Paradise. And, like, all the guys in the room, there was one guy in the room, silent. There were more guys then who came in the room, and all of a sudden the conversation was like, oh, that girl's hot, or that girl's not cute, or like all this stuff. And I'm like, literally 10 minutes ago when there was just one guy, nobody was saying anything. So I really think it has to do with, like, the guys and trying to be like cool. Also, we were watching Bachelor in Paradise, so, like, maybe that was an insecurity of, you know, things. But, you know.
Show, I think, promotes that kind of behavior.
For sure.
But, yeah, I agree. I think that this person who gave the rating is not a jerk. But is acting like one because of pressures,
I like that.
a social pressure, and an insecurity in themselves.
So, but could it be like with guys watching? Once it is accepted within the social group that we're watching The Bachelor in Paradise, maybe one guy won't say all that stuff, and it wasn't that he was just trying to prove something. It's also just the mindset of more than one guy makes ranking acceptable because they're thinking it. He was thinking it, but he didn't have anyone to say the numbers to because you guys
It's definitely possible. We've all jumped on and been like, really? But, you know, I don't know. I don't know. It's hard.
A
Yeah,
rivalry occurs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let me go to Victoria real
I
quick.
think it's just something that's popular that people do all the time. Because, I mean, even some girls do it to each other. Like, they will say, oh, my gosh, you're like a 10 or something like that. And I just think that it's just, I don't know. I don't know.
But should we push against it like Aaron is promoting? Should we say this is not okay in society?
I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like,
I give
people
this- I give
people
this
have
behavioral
different
one.
opinions. There's someone's going to rate you a 5, and then they're going to be like, oh, you're a 10 later. Or someone else is going to say you're a 10. It's other people's opinions.
Exactly.
That they can keep to themselves.
Josh?
Hey.
Hey.
Yeah, just along lines with like everybody else saying, I'm not one to do this and I don't allow it to happen around me. However, I'm conscious that it does happen. And going beyond, is the guy morally correct here or not? The question is like, what does it mean for you? And from his eyes, it means that you're pretty good looking. And I would say beyond that, you're the only one who knows like how you feel about yourself and what you portray in the world. So if you're a 10, you're a 10. You don't have to be an 8.5 just because he says you're an 8.5. You don't have to be a 4 if someone says you're a 4. You're whatever you feel like and portray to the world. So
like he's not
focus
even
on
an
that.
official judge.
Yeah, he's not even a judge. You're the judge of your own life. So focus on that.
Yeah, I feel like if somebody was like, you're an 8.5, I'd be like, you don't even know me.
Right.
Right.
And thank you.
Yes, but that's exactly the point, right? You don't even know me, and whatever number you give them, even if it's a 10, you still
Yeah.
don't know them. That's still like a terrible thing to do to someone, to reduce them to that number.
Yeah.
It
So she's
dehumanizes.
So she's asking what it means. What should we tell her what she should do if someone presents her with this information? Like, how do you respond?
Well, it might
Well,
have been asked
yeah.
for. Because, like, there's all these, like, I mean, I don't know, when
Oh.
I was in middle school,
Okay.
not that long ago,
Please tell.
there were, like, these statuses, like my status for, like, a rate. And does anyone know what I'm
Hot or
talking
not.
about?
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
like my status, and, like, I'll message
Oh,
you
yeah,
a
that's
rating or
true.
whatever. So there was that type of stuff. So if this is solicited, like, do not solicit anymore. Because, like, you're just setting yourself up for just, like, a lot
yeah.
of weird
So-
questions for yourself. But if it's unsolicited and somebody's just telling you, like, I think you're an 8.5, like, I would be like, I didn't really
Yeah,
ask for
yeah.
that information.
You don't know me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Victoria.
that's a great response.
It also causes a lot of drama.
Yeah.
I mean, my cousin, she was posting stuff, and then someone else rated her, and then some girl was like, no, you shouldn't rate people. And then, like, it was, like, this whole thing on her page. I was like, oh, my gosh, what is this?
I
And
think
she asked for it, so I don't know.
You could write back, I'm actually unquantifiable, but
Yeah.
I think simplest form of what I was trying to say before is like it means nothing really.
yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
and it's just a number, and don't make it mean anything. I mean, he may have made it mean something, but you don't have to. You can apply a number to yourself. You don't have to do anything. It means nothing. So
To me, that number, even the 0.5, is just like so kind of like adorably ridiculous because it's
Like,
like
just
it's
half of
giving it's giving room for you to be topped if someone better comes
Well,
along, but it's
with a
telling
better
you that
stat,
you're
like
cute
another-
No,
enough.
I'd be like, what's that 0.5 about?
it's because like they only have one
What?
half of the
Yeah.
face. Because
Bringing it back.
There we go.
Bringing it back. Yes. All right. Let's see. Josh, would you read the next question?
yeah. I'm a sophomore in high school, and I'm shy to talk to good-looking guys or guys I find attractive. I can never make eye contact when I'm talking to them, so I just avoid talking to them. I also feel really insecure when I have to talk to them or work with them, and I feel as if they're secretly judging me, like thinking, geez, she's ugly, or noticing small flaws on my face. With this in my head, it makes me really uneasy. What can I do?
Aaron?
I mean, all right. So this is what you're thinking, right? But has anyone said this to you? Because if so, that's awful. They shouldn't be doing that. But I doubt that they have. I think this is what you're thinking, that
Yeah.
they're thinking, right? So you're assuming that that's their thought about you, which perhaps means that it's really not what they're thinking. Maybe it's what you're thinking, right? Because you're not hearing them say this, you're thinking they're saying this. You're projecting onto them what your thoughts are. Maybe.
Yeah, the person who gets closest to your face is you looking in the mirror. And so-
Magnifying mirrors too.
any mirror, because like no person is like standing right here like looking at a flaw in your face. So like, and Josh was fixing his hair right before the show started, and it was something that I didn't notice, so he noticed it. I think all teenagers are this self-conscious, and so what we have to do is get you past that fear of like eye contact. And like I wrote back to this person in the app and I said, you know, everybody craves eye contact. And so it's a gift to look into somebody's eyes. So don't look at it as, oh, this is me about to get judged. That's you giving someone the gift of your full attention. And so try to look at it that way, Jilly.
Yeah, I mean, I would say I've said it before, but I really think that you are so much harder on yourself than anybody is on you. Like the things, like I'll say to my friends, like, oh my God, I have like this pimple here. And they're like, I didn't even notice that until you like pointed it out. So I think, you know, you have to like move past that, because you're always going to feel insecurities, because people are insecure about their bodies all the time. And so I think that if you move past that and realize that like as soon as you let that go, you are so much more attractive and approachable than than you were before. It's like all about the way that you kind of perceive yourself and the way that you kind of walk with confidence. Josh?
Yeah, and adding on to that, like as soon as you accept that you're your own worst critic, then you can move past it. Aaron?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking like about like me. I have probably like 2 zits coming in right now, and that might be embarrassing, generally speaking, as like a base concept. But also I know that no one that is friends with me, no one that loves me, no one that I like, none of that, they don't care. They don't notice. It doesn't affect my relationship with anybody who is worth my time or is worth knowing me. So even if it might be a thing that's kind of maybe baseline embarrassing, it doesn't actually negatively impact my life in any way that matters. So I don't care. Right.
And flaws are beautiful too. Like some people have a dimple in their chin and other people think it's just the cutest. So flaws are kind of lovely.
You can't control your face.
Yeah.
You can't control, I mean, you can ish with plastic surgery, but you shouldn't be doing that. You can't control it. And I think that you hit it on the head with confidence. I think confidence is palpable and it's attractive, but also like, does it matter if it's attractive to other people? It should be attractive to you, and like that should be the only thing that kind of carries you, that you're not living your life to appease, I will say, the male gaze, because that's what we're discussing. You shouldn't be living your life to, be up to anybody else's standards, even if they are just hypothetical in your brain and haven't been verbalized from these people that you're trying to cater to.
Right. And of course, someone that you find romantically attractive is going to make your heart beat faster, and it's going to make you get kind of sweaty. But the thing is, if you're so preoccupied about your own face, then you're not able to give him the gift of your personality. And so the best thing for you to do for him is to let him know that you find him acceptable, because he needs that more than he needs you obsessing about a line on your forehead or something like that. So unswitch that and give him the fullness of you and your love and your spirit, because that's what you need to be doing, rather than this is sidetracking you from being you. And we're all subject to that, and so we all have to push back against that human instinct, because the best thing you can do in the world is to be present for other people. Aaron?
Yeah, and I think that how you do that is making sure that you feel good about how you look, like regardless of what you think other people are looking like and what they're thinking as they look. What do you think as you look? How can you make yourself feel good about the way you look? And I don't care what, like, do you want to dye your hair? Whatever. Like, it's all up to you, right? I'm not telling you what to do here. I'm saying what makes you feel comfortable. That's what you should be doing. And it's about you. Right? It's like what you were saying, Wheezy. It's not about it's about letting you shine through. It's about getting to your personality. It's about not letting this get in the way of the rest of your life. And if you feel that this is a big challenge for you, which it is a big challenge for some people, then if this is getting in the way of your life, maybe it's time to talk to a school counselor or to a doctor about this if it's a serious issue for you. And that's okay.
So
That's
if we
also
can,
okay.
if like, I think it's important right now that Jilly and I talk about The Bachelor in Paradise because
Yes, I'm right
probably
here.
the most
Right here.
beautiful girl on the show is what's her name?
I
There's
mean,
There's so
the one
many
who's in love
beauties.
with Jared.
oh, why am I blank? Ashley I.
Ashley I. Yeah.
Yes.
She's absolutely beautiful.
I'm so
But her-
happy that we can have this conversation.
I know, but her personality is getting in the way of her finding what she wants because she's so needy and annoying
Yeah.
Cries a
that
lot.
people have to ignore her complete lack of imperfections and get kind of caught up in she's going to be a lot of drama and she's going to cry a lot and she's going to not be an easy person.
Right. So it works
Yeah.
both ways.
Yeah, so
you know,
even this perfect looking human, and I think she's stunning,
she is really pretty.
she needs to work on being less ridiculous.
Yeah, and I think you hit it on the head with like getting in your own way with just being able to be yourself, like letting yourself shine through. I feel like so often, and you know, this goes into adulthood, unfortunately.
Oh, sure.
But you know, we'll get in our heads and allow that part of our brain, this sort of monster voice, to sort of take over and become like the main voice, saying like, you're not pretty enough, you're not good enough, you're not, you know, talented enough, blah, 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 blah. And those are all natural emotions that sometimes we just need to experience because they're emotions that just come through. You know, we let them come through. We don't let them linger. We kick them out of our mind house.
You have to say, who put you in charge?
Yeah, exactly.
Off with you.
I always describe, you know, bad emotions as imagining your brain as a house and then like a bad emotion knocks at the door. Now, if you were in your house and somebody was knocking at the door, you wouldn't ignore it. That's weird. You'd open the door, you let them in, but they're not living there. They can only hang out a little bit. They don't live there with you. You got to kick them out eventually.
you
I
have to
really
say,
like
hey,
that.
Would you look
Hey
at
there.
the time?
I got to go.
Here's your hat. What's your hurry?
Because I think a lot of people also, if they are prone to being a little bit more depressive or prone to have bad emotions, then they'll feel bad about having the bad emotions and be like, why am I having
Oh,
so
it's
to
a
then
loop.
just sort of go, that's okay, you're human and you'll have a bad emotion, but it doesn't live in your brain. It can
It's a
only
guest.
hang out.
It's a guest.
Got to kick it out.
Time to
You don't have
go.
to go home, but you can't stay here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to go. You can go over to Ashley
Last
Eyes.
call. Go to Ashley Eyes Brain, please.
Yes.
I think they're already all over.
Or Victoria on Are You the One, which I just finished. And I'm
Oh,
so
I
ready to
just
talk
started
about.
that last night.
What is
Really?
it? What is it?
It's
Oh,
an
it's
MTV.
the best show on television.
It's
Really?
like MTV's version of The Bachelor or
It's
Batch in Paradise,
so
but
good.
amped up so much, and there's $1 million on the table, and it's
Ooh.
crazy.
I'm super
Divided
excited.
10 ways, though.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's
I
a million.
I know it's
like,
divided.
you know,
Yes,
you're like,
I know.
They have to
But
find
still.
their perfect match at the end of 10 weeks, and if they
We're-
do, they split $1 million.
All right, so Jilly and I we're gonna do a spin-off show
Okay.
all about reality TV and how
Okay.
it affects
Yes.
reality.
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. I
Are
will
you
be-
in?
Yes.
Okay.
Fantastic.
All right, we'll talk after the show. All right.
Great.
Sorry, Aaron. I know. Aaron's like, oh, why am I hearing this conversation? Let's see. Would you like to read? Oh, you don't have a script. I'll read this one.
Okay.
So we.
Oh, I can read. I've got
you
it
can
now.
read. Okay.
Sharing is caring.
I have met an amazing friend online. That's the one at the bottom of the first.
Okay.
Page. Yeah.
I've met an amazing friend online, and he's an incredibly funny and nice person. On one of his social media profiles, he said some things along the lines of killing himself. He also put that his final wish is to see 2 people smile, which is most likely my friend and I. I really want to see him for the first time on Skype, but I know I'm going to smile. I don't know what I would do if he killed himself either. What should I do?
This question is
It's
like
heavy.
this is like the pitch for a Lifetime movie,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's also really important that we talk about this seriously.
Yes.
Okay, so go ahead.
This person is obviously depressed on some part of the spectrum and needs help, but that's when it becomes really sticky because how do you help them? And I think that since they don't know each other personally in the flesh, just continuing to be their friend online, continuing to show interest in them and support and saying, like, talking about anything else besides what could lead them to trigger them to be depressive again. I don't think that the threats of wanting to kill themselves are real, but then again, it's hard to kind of like rule that. with certainty. But I think that just showing up for them as a supportive friend is the most important thing.
And
Yeah.
how do you feel about them possibly using this friendship to get attention by being very dramatic in this type of way? Or is it dangerous for me to even say that because we're talking about life or death?
Well, I think that there are some elements to that. And I certainly have known some people to amp up drama, but they also were suffering from, some form of mental illness.
Oh, I know he said or he
Yeah.
would never even be doing this in the first
Yeah.
place. No,
Yeah.
I fully get that, Aaron.
Yeah, it's sticky, like you said, because there's all these different angles. But the bottom line is, right, if you know this person, right, the writer of this question knows this person, and you
Sort of.
know
They're
him.
online friends.
Sure, but they've talked for a while, right? You know him better than we do, and you are more aware of the situation than we could possibly be. We can say, oh, well, we think it's this, we think it's that, but we don't really know, and you don't really know either, but you know better than us. And if you felt that there was a serious threat going on, like if you were honestly concerned about like the well-being of this person, then two things simultaneously, one of these is not more important than the other, that you need to understand. One is that and this sounds weird, but it's not your responsibility, right? Like this person and their well-being, like no matter what you do, no matter what happens, if it's good or bad, it's not your fault, right?
100%
Yes,
true.
that you need to understand that this sounds mean, but it's their problem, and you can help them as much as you can try to help them. There's no guarantees there though, and it's their burden to bear, kind of, until they find professional help, which they do need. And you can't make that happen. You can be supportive of it, but you can't make that happen because you just can't. It's not possible. And it's also, like I said, not your responsibility anyway. But there's one other quick thing, which is that if you are aware of some threat, some imminent threat, you can call the police on that. Like you can get authorities involved. But yeah. But regardless, go back to the first point. This is not, whatever, good or bad, your fault.
And we don't know this person. We don't know how casual these comments are, because I think that, it's unfortunately a common tendency for, if you are prone to depression, to be like, I'm just going to kill myself. That feels like something that a lot of people that are generally prone to sadness will say, and maybe it's not as serious as other people are interpreting. Or it could be very serious. We don't know. We don't know this person. But I think that also something as arbitrary as I just want to see two people smile makes me feel personally that it's not as serious as this person writing in may consider it to be. And that, again, like you said, it's not her fault. She shouldn't feel cautious of smiling when she is Skyping with this person.
That part feels kind of manipulative. I just have to be honest. And so I think you need to call him on this and just say, you can't do that to us.
Yeah.
You don't get to do that to us. You have to call this helpline and give them the phone number for teenlineonline.org and have them call and talk to somebody who's more of a specialist in this type of sadness, because he can't put that on you where you're walking around afraid to smile. Josh?
Yeah, I think kind of along the lines of what Aaron was saying, I think it's a very thin line here. And for this situation, I've said before on the show that when you have a friend that's depressed, they're not really a friend or the friend that you know. And they don't have the mental capacity or the space for you to even have a friendship at that point in time. So like Julia said, be very supportive and there for that person, but also take away the expectation of the word friend. That's why I always consider just say, like, this is someone I know and I'm helping them and supporting them through this. However, right now it's not the friend that I know.
Yeah, it's not an even balance of
because it's not the even balance, like you said.
And so right.
And with what you said at the end, which is you're afraid you're going to smile on Skype, even if you do, if he does something, it's not your fault, like Aaron said.
Absolutely.
And if you know something, like he said, you have every right to call the police or report this to somebody. Victoria?
And also this could be a little bit dangerous too for your sake, because you've never met this person, and we hear this all the time, but it's very true. And this can also be like a way to lure. You know what I mean? it could be a lure because,
Entrapment.
I mean, it's happened so many times. It just seems to me like it might be a lure because you've never met them and you and your friend are the two people. You know what I mean? That's kind of really like, okay, that's very specific. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it feels to me that it might be a lure.
So be careful.
Yeah.
Aaron.
Yeah, I just want to, for this whole conversation, just to reiterate something I said kind of earlier, let's not discount that, people do have serious problems, and that, again, for the responsibility thing, people go and study for years and years and then practice in the field for years and years before they get qualified to even begin to help people with problems like this, right? Like,
So
this,
true.
yeah, this is not a friend problem. This
Yeah.
is barely even like a family problem.
That's like you
This
trying
is-
to solve a broken arm.
Yeah.
You just don't know how to do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, you haven't been to med school.
You were so right when you said that it's not your friend when they're going through this depression, that
Yeah.
they're just a different version of themselves, because depression makes you selfish and you can't help it, because depression, it's like you're driving the car and there's only 2 seats and it's the depression driving and then you're
Yeah.
the passenger. There's no room for anything else.
Yeah, and then along the lines with what you were saying too is just don't make yourself feel like you're being selfish either if you space yourself from them, because obviously it's starting to affect you, and on a level that it's like you said you're not really capable of dealing with. So it's just going to frustrate you and hurt you more to be friends with them at this point, other than just knowing your stand for where they can be.
So picture your friend is stuck in a well, and all he can do is really scream because he's stuck in a well. He's not going to be like, so how's your day going?
Yeah.
He's not able to do that because job one is get him out of a well. That's what has to happen. And so since you don't have a rope and you don't know how to get him out of a well, you have to get him that help, and then he can be your friend
Yeah.
once he's back up on the land.
Yeah.
We're going to
Heavy.
jump to the next question. Aaron, would you read it?
I will. Next question is, I have been dating this girl for about 7 months now. I'm a 15-year-old boy in grade 10. One night she got really close to me and we sort of had sex. I'm really scared because there was no protection. I want to ask if this is wrong and if I should tell my parents. That voice strain was actually me going, So, I mean, did someone have their hand up? Or
I mean, I did.
okay, then you first.
I mean, for me, the only response I really have is we would need to know more information, because sort of had sex is really,
Let's just assume they had sex.
then you probably should tell your parents and figure out what's going on then, because there might be a situation you need to deal with.
You gotta
Should-
get tested.
So
Should he go to his dad first? Because I think a
Yeah.
dad would understand if a 15-year-old boy sort of had sex, and mom would be like, "What?"
yeah, dad.
Generally.
Dad.
Aaron.
That's so funny. It would be totally the opposite for me. But
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
I mean,
That's
read
true.
the room, person who wrote in.
Yeah.
You
Read
know
the
which
room.
relationship you have with your parents.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know them.
That's good. Read the room.
Yeah.
Okay. So first of all, I just want a couple key points. You said you want to ask if this is wrong and should you tell your parents. So actually, no. I'm going to say there's a third question because I'm really scared because there was no protection. So what are you scared of? You're scared that maybe you.
He's
might-
afraid he got her pregnant.
Yeah,
maybe,
exactly. Right. So those are the 3 questions that I see here. One. So you said we sort of had sex. You probably had sex. I mean, that's just probably what this is,
I
right?
think
Yeah.
we've determined
Yeah,
that.
we're
I
just
think
gonna.
the first time you have sex, it feels like sort of, because you're just like, was that it?
I know. You're like, when did the sex start?
that was. That's what everyone talks
Because there's
about.
so many almost moments.
Yeah,
Oh,
there are.
goodness.
a
Not
lot.
for me, Mom. Not for me.
No,
I've never
we're
had
not
sex.
talking from any personal experience, but we know that
Word of
people
mouth.
kind of stumble into sex.
Word of mouth.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's not like there's a big fireworks display where you're like, ta-da!
right.
It's
Right.
more like, I think that just happened. Yeah, so
Mhm.
the
So-
way you're describing it makes us feel like it happened.
Right. So you did. Let's just go with that. And there was no protection. All right. So odds are at least maybe that could have been a thing. You could have gotten her pregnant. That's absolutely possible. And by the way, that's even possible with protection if it's not used appropriately. So right, there's a chance exists
Even if it is
in a lot of
used
situations.
appropriately, it's still a chance.
There is
So-
usually still a chance. That's correct.
So let me just interject 2 things, and this is really important with this discussion. The reason why teen pregnancy is so prevalent is 1, teenagers don't know how to have sex. 2, they don't know how to put on a condom. So they're the worst at everything
Yeah.
that you need to be doing correctly to not get pregnant, and they're the most fertile people.
Yeah.
So they're like, there's like 3 or 4 reasons why teen pregnancy is like such an oops it kind of happens. You were making out, and then that happened, and now somebody's pregnant. So this is why this is a good opportunity for us to say to you guys, like, please understand that once your clothes come off, somebody could get pregnant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. And if you are not prepared for like handling that and making that as safe as you can make it, then like you shouldn't be having sex. And the fact that you said we sort of had sex makes me think that you are kind of not quite ready.
That's exactly right. You're not really ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
You
my
know,
gosh.
And you have the yearnings for it way before you have enough information to be safe.
I got ready last year. Like I'm barely ready.
I'm just barely ready.
I'm not
and now I'm
emotionally
like, let's
involved.
go. Yeah.
And I want to make
Sign me up.
And I want to be clear. I'm not judging. I'm not saying you're stupid. I'm just saying like you're young and you have things to learn yet. And like everybody goes through that. And this is what happens when we're not fully prepared. And that's a serious thing to be worried about. Don't freak out. Just make sure you know how to handle this, right? So like if this seems like it's an issue, pregnancy tests are a thing. You know, make that happen. But let's move forward. I want to ask if this is wrong and if I should tell my parents. If this is wrong, I mean, that it's not really for me to say. Is it wrong to the extent that you know you probably should have been ready? Yeah, you probably should have been ready before you jumped into this, but it happened. And is that like, are you a horrible person? No, but you made a mistake though, right? And that's something that everyone makes a mistake. And how do you move forward from that mistake? What do you learn from that mistake? So is it wrong? I'm not really going to answer that definitively. And if I should tell my parents, well, the first question is that I get her pregnant, right? That's what you're asking. And if it seems like that's the case, yeah, you're going to want to tell lots of people because you're going to need a lot of help. And no matter how this goes, you're going to need a lot of help, right? This is not something that is, you're 15, right? This is not something that you're prepared to handle on your own, no matter how this goes.
I would say if they are hesitant about going straight to a parent, which it seems like it, that's very scary because you have to confess a lot of things. A, that you're sexually active, and B, that you could potentially have gotten this person pregnant. This is when a cool older brother or sister comes in, or somebody's cool older brother or sister, or somebody with a car. Who can first, you got to act fast on this. You got first get a pregnancy test, get that done, and then have that conversation with your parents and say, listen, this is happening. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I have disappointed you in any way, but we need to have this conversation, and hopefully they're understanding and get that hormones happen and teenagers have sex. And if they haven't already had this sex conversation, unfortunately, this is the way to lead into it. There are worse things that have happened in the world. And I think that just having that conversation in and of itself is very, very important.
So we don't need to put a grade on this as to qualifying it good or bad. It's behavior that humans do. Mm-hmm. So if you engaged in this behavior before you were really mature enough to engage in it responsibly, that does not make you bad remotely. But even before you talk to your mom or your dad, I think you should talk to the girl and say, are you okay? Because it seems like this happened.
Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That should have been your first step.
Yeah. And then you can say, do you like based on what you know about sex, do you think we had sex? And do you think that you should, because she might know where things went and how that felt to her, and whether or not she should go to the drugstore and go with her and get the pregnancy test and do that together, because it may be that there's nothing to worry about because this does happen and people don't always get pregnant. But if it looks like the test comes back that maybe she's pregnant, then you really do need to tell an adult. I'm not even saying that you have to tell an adult for sure just because you think you had sex, because a lot of what we do as teenagers are, depending on who our parents are, they don't really need to know just yet.
For sure.
Yeah.
If I was a parent, I'd be like,
It's a judgment call. And but if your dad is cool, you can say to your dad, I went kind of far with a girl. And I don't think I was ready, and I have a lot of questions. Yeah. Victoria?
But the only thing about not telling the parent, it might it's gonna be stuck with you the whole time. You're gonna be stuck with it, and you're gonna feel like I haven't told them, and you know what I mean. You're gonna kind of feel guilty that you didn't tell them.
I don't know if everything is your parents' business. It really depends on who your parents are
I
and your
think-
relationship with them.
Yeah, I think
How
it's a
I
case-by-case
think of it is
basis.
that as long as you're under their roof, it is kind of their business because whatever goes on under their roof is theirs. You know what
but
I mean?
you've got really great parents.
But
So
even
what if
we're not all lucky.
Yeah. What if it's not going to I mean, everyone becomes sexually active at some point. I'm hoping not at 15 because you're too young. But if, let's say, he were 18, does he then have to tell his parents? I mean, when do you get to have your own private life?
Yeah,
guess.
I would first just talk to your partner, and because they're feeling very vulnerable, and then kind of ease into that. I think that a knee-jerk reaction is like, oh, do I have to talk to my parents? But
Or am I good or bad?
Am I good or bad?
Yeah, so there's
I
a lot
think-
going on in his mind.
Yeah. I think that, you know, the person writing in knows their relationship with their parents. If this is something that they feel their parents are going to overreact to and, like, you know, ground them and go crazy, maybe don't. Like,
Yeah.
maybe pump the brakes.
I mean, I kind of agree with Victoria that at 15, since you're really still a child, your parents have a right to know that you've had
Right.
sex because they would want to help you and help you understand what that is, what that means, what your questions are. I mean, I get that you feel like the parents have a right to know.
Mhm.
But honestly, the older you grow and the more you meet people with different parents, you'd be surprised how many people had their first sexual experience and never told their parents and just figured it out on their own. Not that that's the best way to go or what we recommend, but it's so personal. It's kind of like coming out. It's like if your parents aren't ready for this information, then not all parents deserve to know that you're gay or that you're, you know, sexually or gender not
curious
you know,
or-
having questions or whatever about how you want to be in the world. Not all parents deserve that information because they haven't been, you know, that supportive thus far. Although I do agree with you for the most part. I think there's a lot of 15-year-old boys who have sex and don't tell their parents. Am I going on a limb with
no,
that
I
one?
think
No.
you're and a lot of girls.
Girls
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
Let us just say.
But let's just say, yeah. So it would be great if you could talk to them because I wish every kid had support and help from people who have been through this. However, what happens with your own kid is you tend to freak out when it's your own kid. Like you might give wonderful advice to some other kid, but when it's your own kid, you might not be that dispassionate about the
Yeah.
whole situation.
And if you're very passionate about talking to a blood relative about this, I'd start with a cool aunt. Start with a cool uncle.
Yeah.
And work my way from there.
Yeah, it's kind of why we're here. Although, you know,
Yeah.
we don't know you, but we are here to tell you you're a good person.
Yes.
Especially since you wrote in and you've been dating this girl for 7 months, and so that's why she's probably the first person you should talk to about this and say, so I guess that happened.
Yeah,
How are
this-
you feeling?
This is not just a good person, it's a great person.
Yeah, yeah. And then go with her. And,
Yeah.
you know, kind of like pregnancy is the thing that happens to the girl. And so make sure she knows you're with her. Go with her to CVS, pick up the pregnancy, wait for her. Think the results come back pretty quickly.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll have your answer. And then from there, you can decide which adults you want to tell.
Yeah, and there are a lot of Planned Parenthoods with like extremely chill staff who just want to sit and talk to you about all of this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like I can name one, the Eagle Rock Planned Parenthood, very chill staff.
Excellent.
If you guys are looking for some advice.
I could always use that.
Yeah, me too, every day. Am I doing all right? They're like,
Oh,
yes.
You want to read? You're doing all right. Yes, you've got this sex thing down. You're good.
Yes.
Aaron, last question.
Sure, we'll do a flash question
Mhm.
session. So, how can I start more conversations with my boyfriend? Any topics? Go,
There's so
go.
many good
Make
topics.
it
I mean,
fast.
Not a good thing.
Just
if
like
you have to think of
slide into the
topics.
DMs like, hey, how
Hey.
you doing? What's the weather like?
To your boyfriend though?
Yeah.
Icebreakers.
Ice-breaking questions.
I mean, standard. What would be your superhero power?
Ooh.
Ooh,
Who
that's
would
good.
you have dinner with, living or dead? What 3 things would you bring on a deserted island?
These are all great. Wow.
I like that.
Boom.
Don't you think if it's your boyfriend's, like there might be an underlying issue that you have to think of topics to like?
Okay, like, what
talk
did you
to?
do today?
I don't know. Sometimes you just get bored at dinner.
You know what?
I'm leaning on that
I
a
get
little
that.
bit.
What did you do today?
Yeah, no, I like creative
Like-
questions. I like creative questions. We could do a round as we close out the show.
Yeah.
You want because you're good at improv, so you have good.
Sure. I mean, what did you want to be when you were 5 years old? Has that maybe that's a depressing one.
I wanted to be
Yeah.
a drummer,
I just wanted to be an author
an author. Wow, Judy Blume
of
fan.
like
Yeah.
Judy Blume books, pretty much.
Yeah, Victoria.
I guess like would you try new like different kinds of food or something?
No, you have to
Like-
answer the question.
No, we're all
What did you want to
answering
do
the
when you were
question.
5? Yeah.
Oh, I have to answer.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a fairy.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Best job.
Keep
Best
dreaming.
job.
There's some
Excellent-
openings.
Excellent benefits.
I'm actually pretty consistent. I wanted to be a marine biologist / entertainer, so
Well, there you go.
I'm doing both.
Yeah.
Merman.
I wanted to be a chef.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be an astronaut, but that's before I knew I had asthma. So
I have asthma too.
Me
Wait
too.
a minute. People with asthma can't be astronauts?
we can't go to space.
Oh,
What?
man. How tall are you? Because that's another thing.
I
I
also
mean-
can't go to space because of
Wait.
that.
yeah, well, there you
Wait,
go.
where did you hear this? We can't go to space thing.
No, like to be a NASA astronaut, you need to have extremely.
Okay, NASA, whatever. I'm SpaceX. Where do they
Oh,
have that?
Hey,
SpaceX,
If,
all
if
right.
you got the dough, maybe they don't care.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, I think.
Lance Bass that. Yeah.
Lance, pass that.
Yeah. Put that on a
Closure.
T-shirt.
Thank you, Julia Prescott, for being with us. We're
Thanks so
Journals
much for having
Network.
me.
We'll see you next week.